There's a place in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where an Amish family grows more tomatoes on a quarter-acre than most folks pull from a full backyard all summer. Same sun, same rain, same growing zone you might be sitting in right now. They don't buy fertilizer. They don't buy soil amendments. They don't spend a single dollar on their dirt. And yet, come August, their plants are so loaded the stakes bend. Meanwhile, you're standing in your garden wondering why 6 plants gave you a handful of decent fruit and a pile of cracked, pale disappointments. The difference isn't luck. It isn't a secret seed. It's something they do to the ground itself before a single plant ever goes in. And it won't cost you a dime. Now, if you've ever stood in your garden at the end of summer and felt like you did everything right, but the harvest told a different story, you're not alone. And what's coming next in this video is the part that changes things. If this kind of honest, old-way growing knowledge is what you came here for, take a second and hit subscribe, because we don't do gimmicks here. We do what works, what lasts, and what your grandparents already knew. Here's what most people do every spring, and I'd bet good money you've done it too. You go to the garden center. You grab a bag of potting mix, maybe a box of tomato fertilizer, some calcium granules because last year you got blossom end rot. You haul it all home, rip open the bags, mix it into your beds, and feel like you just gave your garden the best possible start. You plant your tomatoes, water them, faithful as a clock, and wait. 6 weeks later, the plants look all right. Some yellow leaves down low, a few fruits here and there, nothing like the picture on the seed packet, and you think, maybe it was the weather. It wasn't the weather. It's almost never the weather. What most gardeners don't realize, and this is the part nobody selling you those bags wants you to think about, is that you've been feeding the wrong thing. You fed the plant. You gave it a shot of nitrogen, a handful of minerals, a sprinkle of this and that, but you never fed the soil. And that difference, quiet as it sounds, is the entire reason your tomatoes come up short every single year. The plant is not the problem. The ground underneath it is. And until you fix the ground, no amount of store-bought product will change your harvest.
Let me make this real plain. Pick up a handful of dirt from your tomato bed right now. Squeeze it. Does it crumble into dust like chalk? Or does it clump into a hard lump like clay? Either way, you're looking at soil that's biologically empty. There's no structure in it, no sponge, no life. Healthy soil, the kind the Amish have, feels different in your hand. It's dark, almost black. It crumbles soft like chocolate cake. It smells like a forest floor after rain. That smell is microbial life. Billions of organisms in every teaspoon, breaking down organic matter and delivering nutrients directly to plant roots. Your dirt doesn't smell like that, and that's the whole story. Now here's what that dead soil actually costs you, and it's more than a thin harvest. Think about what you've spent over the past 5 years on your garden. Bags of soil, bags of fertilizer, calcium supplements, new raised bed mix because last year's felt used up. For a modest backyard plot, that's easily $50 to $150 a year. Over 5 years, that could be $500, $700, poured into ground that got no better. In some cases, it got worse. Because here's something the fertilizer bag doesn't tell you. Synthetic nitrogen, the quick feed stuff, actually suppresses the mycorrhizal fungi your tomato roots depend on. Those fungi are nature's delivery system, and you've been killing them
with the very product you bought to help.
So you spend money, you get less, the soil degrades, and next spring you buy more. Because what else are you going to do? That's not gardening. That's a treadmill. And the people who built it are happy to keep you running. But the money isn't even the biggest thing you've lost. The bigger cost is something you probably don't think about much, and once I name it, you'll feel it in your chest. You've lost a skill, a basic human ancient skill. The ability to build soil from nothing, from leaves, scraps, manure, time, and grow real food without buying a single thing. Your grandparents had it. Their grandparents had it. The Amish still have it. Somewhere along the line, we traded it for a garden center receipt. This is where most people get it wrong, and I want to be fair about this. It's not your fault. Nobody taught you. The information was replaced, not by better information, but by products. You were told the answer comes in a bag. That compost is complicated. That soil science is for experts. None of that is true. The Amish family in Lancaster County didn't read a soil textbook. They learned from their parents, who learned from theirs. They observed what the ground needed, gave it back, and let biology do the heavy lifting. The whole system runs on stuff you already have: kitchen scraps, fallen leaves, grass clippings, a little aged manure if you can get it. Cost? Zero. Always. And here's the reframe I want you to sit with. Most gardeners who get a weak harvest blame the variety. They blame the weather. They blame the bugs, the spot they planted in, the brand of fertilizer. Almost nobody looks down and says, "My soil is dead." Because the soil looks fine. It's brown. It's there. You can dig in it. But there and alive are two very different things. A concrete parking lot is there too. Your tomato plant has been trying to grow in something closer to that than you realize. Not because you're careless, because no one told you what soil is supposed to be. The Amish didn't forget. And what they do instead is so simple, it almost sounds too easy. Which is exactly why people overlook it. Let me tell you what they're not doing. They're not buying miracle products. They're not chasing the newest hybrid for bigger yields. They're not tilling their beds into powder every March. They're doing something older and quieter. They're building their soil the way you'd build a savings account, a little bit at a time, every season, compounding year after year. And the result, after just 2 or 3 seasons, is ground so alive and so rich that tomatoes practically grow themselves. The plants get bigger, the fruit gets heavier, the diseases drop off. Not because of magic, but because the biology underneath is finally working. That's the free trick. That's the Amish way. And everything you need to start is already in your yard. So let's get into exactly what this looks like. Hands in the dirt, no theory, no fluff. The core of what the Amish do, and what your great-grandparents did before garden centers existed, comes down to one rule that governs everything else. Feed the soil, and the soil feeds the plant. That's it. That's the whole philosophy. But inside that one line lives a complete system, and every piece of it costs nothing. The first practice, and maybe the most powerful one for tomato growers, is trench composting. You dig a shallow trench, 8-10 inches deep, right between your tomato rows. You fill it with kitchen scraps,
Eggshells, coffee grounds, vegetable peels, banana skins, whatever you'd normally throw away. Cover it with soil, walk away. That's it.
What happens underneath is where the real work begins, and it happens without you lifting another finger. Those scraps break down in weeks. Earthworms find them. Bacteria colonies explode. Fungi spread through the surrounding soil in white threads you can actually see if you dig gently a month later. All of that biology is now alive and working right where your tomato roots are reaching. The nutrients aren't sitting in a bag waiting to be dissolved by a hose. They're being delivered directly in forms the plant can actually use by a living network that's been doing this job for a few million years longer than any fertilizer company has existed. And you built that network with scraps you used to throw in the trash. The second piece is deep mulch, and this is the one most gardeners skip because it seems too plain to matter. 4 to 6 inches of leaves, straw, grass clippings, whatever organic material you can gather for free, piled right on top of the soil around your tomato plants. Not decorative bark chips from a bag, real decomposing plant material. What this does is 3 things at once. It holds moisture in the ground so you water less. It keeps soil temperature steady so roots aren't shocked by hot days and cool nights. And as it slowly breaks down from the bottom up, it feeds that same microbial community you just built with the trench. Mulch isn't decoration. It's a slow-release meal for your soil, and it's free every single autumn when the leaves fall. Now here's the third part, and this one comes straight from how Amish farms operate as a closed loop. If you have access to aged manure, chicken, rabbit, cow, horse, whatever's local, that's gold for your tomato beds. The key word is aged, composted, not fresh from the barn, which can burn roots and carry things you don't want in your food garden. The Amish compost their animal waste for months, sometimes a full year, before it goes back onto the fields. By then, it's dark, crumbly, earthy smelling, and absolutely packed with the biology your soil is starving for. You work it into your beds in the fall, let it marry with the ground over winter, and by spring your soil is a completely different substance than what you started with. If you don't have animals, ask around. Plenty of farms and hobby farmers are happy to let you haul some away. The fourth piece is the one that ties the whole system together, and it's what the Amish do every single fall without fail. They never leave soil bare. When the tomatoes come out, something else goes in. A cover crop, clover, winter rye, field peas, something that holds the ground, prevents erosion, and keeps feeding biology through the cold months. Clover fixes nitrogen right into the soil, free of charge, doing the same job you've been paying a fertilizer bag to do. Come spring, you cut it down, turn it in, or lay it flat as mulch, and plant your tomatoes into ground that spent the winter getting richer instead of sitting dead and exposed. 1 packet of cover crop seed costs almost nothing. Some seed libraries give it away free. The return is enormous. Now, I want to be honest with you because that's the only way this works. This is not a first weekend miracle. If your soil has been neglected for years, tilled bare, fed synthetic, left exposed, it's not going to transform overnight. Your first season doing this, you'll notice things. The soil holds water better, fewer cracks in July. Your plants look a little greener, a little sturdier. But the real change comes in year 2, year 3, when the organic matter compounds and the microbial community truly establishes itself.
The Amish have been building the same plots for generations. That kind of soil takes patience. Anyone promising you instant transformation is selling something. What I'm telling you is slower, and it's honest, and it's the reason Amish gardens outproduce everything around them. Not in one season, but every season, getting better each year.
And this right here is the part that matters more than any gardening technique. What the Amish understood, and what your great-grandparents understood, is that soil is not a product you buy. It's a relationship you build. You give to it your scraps, your leaves, your time, your attention, and it gives back more every year, compounding like interest in a bank that never charges a fee. When we lost that understanding, we didn't just lose tomato yield. We lost a way of thinking. We started believing abundance comes from a store shelf, that if you want more, you need to spend more. The Amish never bought that story. They kept giving back to the ground, and the ground kept giving back to them. That's not a trick. That's a way of life. And it's still available to you, starting today. So here's what I'd ask you to do, and none of it costs a penny. Tonight, save your kitchen scraps. Tomorrow, dig a trench in your garden and bury them. This weekend, gather leaves or grass clippings and pile them thick around your tomato plants. This fall, scatter some clover seed where your garden beds sit empty. And the most important thing, the one rule underneath all the rest, don't ever leave your soil with nothing on it. Bare ground is dying ground. Cover it, feed it, and then stand back and watch what happens when you stop buying and start building. Your great-grandparents didn't need a garden center. The Amish still don't. And now, neither do you. Take care of the land, and quietly, faithfully, season by season, the land takes care of you.